Jeanine Pirro, yet another former Fox News host that's been added to this administration, or just hired by Donald Trump to carry out his agenda. She's going to talk about all that crime that Donald Trump is going to be putting down, and you won't be surprised to hear that she has no idea what the hell she's talking about.
I am, I'm not going to bore you with the facts. Don't quote me on that. That was off the record. I can only hire during certain periods once there's been an ad or some kind of posting, and then I can hire. Okay, I'm doing it. I'm doing the best I can. The president has given me the permission to hire.
Jeanine Pirro is not going to bore you guys with any facts because she doesn't have any facts. There's nothing going on up there except for propaganda and carrying water for this guy. But did you guys listen to what she said? And that's the reason why she has no facts. She has a hiring freeze. She's not allowed to hire anything until the president or until something happens where she can then start hiring. Except the very next sentence was, the president has allowed me to hire. Can you hire or can you not hire? I want you guys to hear that again. Just pay attention.
I can only hire during certain periods once there's been an ad or some kind of posting, and then I can hire. Okay, I'm doing it. I'm doing the best I can. The president has given me the permission to hire.
Bro, she's doing the best that she can. Sadly, the best that she can is to let everyone know that she has absolutely zero interest in actually fighting against crime. And one way that they're talking about all these folks that they're looking to go after, teenagers and try them as adults, is through gun violence. Except she doesn't give a hot damn about that either.
Out of time? That means he's had enough. Goodbye. Thank you. I want you to report on this.
You said
this is important.
You said it's guns on the street that's causing this problem. Are you concerned that the DOJ's funding cuts to gun violence prevention programs?
Oh, stop it. We are putting all kinds of resources onto the street. Thanks.
Is she like related to Leland Vittert? Because the answer is always, oh, come on. That's the only answer you've got when someone asks you a direct question. This should be an easy question. Again, you're here to fight crime in Washington, D.C. That's why you've unleashed the National Guard, federalized the D.C. police, made it a police state. It's because you're fighting crime. And crime is a lot of time committed, as they were talking about, with guns. And she has no interest in doing anything about the gun violence issue because, come on. Why does that make any sense? Why should anybody trust you? This is nothing new for this party because there's been plenty of instances of gun violence over the years and nothing has been done. In fact, they blatantly say it. It's just we don't like to hold their feet to the fire when it comes to that stuff. Here's a couple of those folks throughout the years talking about how much they really don't care about gun violence, especially when it killed children in schools in America.
Is there anything Congress should be doing, anything the Republican conference should be doing about people that are dying from violent gun violence?
Yeah, the first thing in any kind of tragedy I do is, as I pray for the victims, pray for their families. I really get angry when I see people trying to politicize it for their own personal agenda. It just seems like on the other side, all they want to do is take guns away from law-abiding citizens.
I'm calling on the people of Tennessee today to pray for the families of victims, for the Covenant family, for those courageous officers, for the family of the shooter, for those who are hurting and angry and confused.
It's a horrible, horrible situation, and we're not going to fix it. Criminals are going to be criminals. I don't see any real role that we could do other than mess things up. If somebody wants to take you out and doesn't mind losing their life, there's not a whole heck of a lot you can do about it. There's really, I don't think you're going to stop the gun violence. I think you've got to change people's heart.
Why are people allowing this administration to go around talking about how Democrats don't want to do anything about crime? We've had complete years, decades of evidence from these folks that have no interest in stopping crime. I mean, specifically gun violence. Maybe it's because the NRA pays them to care nothing about gun violence when it kills children in schools and people in concerts and folks at 4th of July gatherings. Any place where people have a nice shot at murdering a bunch of people just because, they want to. They've already told us they have no interest in doing that. Why would we believe them when they now say that they're unleashing the National Guard on Washington, D.C. because they now care about violence? They didn't care about it before. When it was your children dying, they don't care about that stuff. As a matter of fact, that was then, and this is now back to Jeanine Pirro, again, being asked about the plans for stopping violence in D.C.
You just walked through the changes you'd like to see from the punitive aspect. What about preventative? Do you or the president plan to do anything to address the root causes of crime in D.C., such as truancy?
My job is to try to heal the victims and prosecute the criminal. Everybody else can deal with rehabilitating the individual. I honestly am not concerned about why they commit crimes. My concern is if they commit crimes. My concern is the victims of the crimes. That's my job as a U.S. attorney.
It's just said right in front of you. There's no policies, there's no agendas, there's no programs in place. I mean, there's some, but it's done by community levels, but definitely not from Republican leadership that's looking to prevent crime, to find the root sources of crime and make sure those things don't happen. Their job is to punish people, and they want more of that because it's a big money-making scheme. We already know that. There's private prisons. This country has the most incarcerated people in the world. So if that's the case, and they're making money off of imprisoning people because that's what this country was built on, enslaving people and having them work for free because lazy people don't like to work that have all these billions of dollars that are stealing more from us right now, why would they change that up? She scoffed at the question. Why would I want to stop crime? What I want are victims. So if you've been a victim and you've been standing there next to Republicans, what makes you think they actually care about what happened to you? What they care about is using your grief and your trauma to promote themselves to more positions of punishing people and making money off of your grief and your trauma. There really should be no one that supports these folks. Even if you're like, yeah, they're being so tough on crime. Don't you want your daughter, your brother, your sister, your mother, your grandmother, your aunt, your uncle, your father to not have gone through what they went through and maybe are no longer with us? They do. They want you to go through this pain so that they can profit off of it. There's someone else that's working with this administration that's going to make this very clear too. Her name is Caroline Levitt. She was at a press conference yesterday, and she was then talking about what they're going to do with homeless folks in D.C.
Regarding the president's efforts in Washington, D.C., do you have any specifics about how homeless people will be dealt with, where they would be moved to? What does this look like?
I do, yes, and it's an important question, so thank you for raising it. The Metropolitan Police Department, with the support of the new federal agencies who have been surging on the streets of the District of Columbia, are going to enforce the laws that are already on the books here in Washington, D.C. For far too long, these laws have been completely ignored, and the homelessness problem has ravaged the city. So D.C. Code 22-1307 and D.C. Municipal Regulation 24-100 give the Metropolitan Police Department the authority to take action when it comes to homeless encampments. So homeless individuals will be given the option to leave their encampment, to be taken to a homeless shelter, to be offered addiction or mental health services, and if they refuse, they will be susceptible to fines or to jail time. Again, these are pre-existing laws that are already on the books. They have not been enforced, which is part of the reason for this federalizing of the National Guard to bring in this assistance for law enforcement. While we are targeting criminals and trying to remove criminals off of the streets, we also want to make DC safe and beautiful, and that involves removing mentally disturbed individuals and homeless encampments as well.
Okay, so it's part of the beautification process. They want to get folks off the streets. It's dirty, it's filthy. People live there. Trash builds up. We've seen all that happen in major cities across the country. That's what they want to do. And the result, it seems like it's some kind of assistance, right? Well, we're going to get folks off the streets, we're going to put them in shelters, and then also maybe get them some mental health and drug addiction treatment. Except they have no care for doing those things. And as a matter of fact, the bottom line, the back end of that, if they refuse these things, I'm not sure if you guys heard this part, is then we start throwing homeless folks into jail. And then Washington, D.C. starts to look like what Los Angeles was looking like when these ICE agents ran through the streets and said, you don't look like you're supposed to be here. Let's swoop you up, throw you in a van, and take you off to some place and make it a new prison for now homeless people. I have some details about what those shelter situation is like, because, you know, it sounds like it's looking to start with a little bit of help, right? So I looked into it. There are very few beds available in Washington. That's what Jesse Rabinowitz with the National Homeless Law Center said. There are a handful of shelter beds available in far-flung parts of the city, often in parts of the city where people don't want to be. That's the first part. There's actually not that many shelters, so is there a plan to build more shelters? I don't remember hearing that as a part of this whole plan that ended in incarceration, but there's still more information about this. Here's what one of those folks that NPR talked to about the situation that's out on the streets. He said, I prefer to sleep under the stars. That's what Dallas Bossert said. He's 64 years old. He said the problem with a lot of your shelters is it's a 30-day stay and then you have to move. You can't really get nothing done, he says. I'm not sure what an unhoused person is supposed to do with 30 days in a shelter. And we've heard horror stories about shelters, the overcrowding of them, the assaults that happen in them, the lack of coordination that's going on in them. And many women and children that may find themselves in these situations don't want to find themselves in a shelter. I mean, it's dangerous on the streets. It's also dangerous in some of these shelters. Is there an initiative to move forward with making sure that this plan that they have to clean up the city and actually treat these humans like humans, is there something like that in place? Experts also voiced concern about these efforts to pressure people living with addiction into treatment at a time when there aren't enough recovery facilities capable of treating the complex health issues that stem from the use of fentanyl, methamphetamines, and other toxic street drugs. Addiction is a chronic illness. It's not the kind of thing where you sweep them up, you get them to better, and then they're cured and that's it, said Dr. Stephen Taylor, head of the American Society of Addiction Medicine. You know, that's someone who knows what they're talking about. And according to Dr. Taylor, Trump's rhetoric about homeless people experiencing addiction dehumanizes Americans struggling with these serious illnesses. Last slide from this NPR article, because just to show you guys, are they going to do something about this? And have they been doing something about setting this up beforehand when they had no answer to how they were going to do this? In recent months, the Trump administration has slashed funding for addiction research and treatment grants, while also sharply reducing Medicaid insurance spending that many people with substance use disorder rely upon. The White House has also proposed deep cuts to rental assistance for low-income families at a time when housing costs have soared for so many Americans. And one of the most expensive cities in the country is Washington, D.C. So you're creating more homelessness, and then you're slashing funding for people who may end up on these drugs that rich people are also on, so that then you can put them in places that don't exist, shelters and more rehab facilities, so that you can then eventually put them in jail. It's a long checklist of moves and actions to get folks into prison. The next target are homeless folks. You know, it's all part of this plan to clean up the city.